Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again in emergency reporting, showing you how to do things in here for the Elkin Fire Department. Again, we're logged in, and our intention in this particular video is to show you how to enter in a fire code inspection. So to show you how to document that, how it's scheduled, everything else, so that you can enter those in, whether you're out actually doing the inspections or if you do it after the inspection's done. So again, here we are. We're in emergency reporting, and if you recall, all of our inspection stuff is in the occupancy module. So we click on that, and that brings up a list of all the occupancies that are listed in. Now, you can scroll through and find the one that you need to fill out, but there's some tricks that we can utilize here in order to find a particular occupancy. For the purposes of this training event, we're going to use Town Hall as our guinea pig, so to speak. And because of that, we can use information we know about Town Hall in order to find the record quicker. For instance, if we come to Name, we click Town just below it, that'll show us everything that we have that has the word Town in the name. And there's Town Hall. Another option is we could do the address and say 226. And it gives us all the addresses with 226 in them, and there it is. So once we've got the occupancy we need up here, we can either click on the little notepad over here with a pencil over it, that's the edit button, or we can double click on the occupancy. Either way, and we can open up that record. I'll double click on it. And now we have the occupancy record. And again, we've looked at this before. If you remember, the occupancy record has a main page, it's info, contacts, inspections, so on and so forth. Because we're entering in inspections, we go to the inspection tab. And if it hasn't already been done, the first thing we need to do is to set the inspection schedule. If you remember, both the state fire code and our local requirements say that each occupancy has to be inspected at a certain period, a certain number of times. I've got our general order over here, in case you need to refer to it, that lists how often each one of these need to be inspected. Now we remember, Town Hall is a business occupancy. So we inspect business occupancies at least once every 3 years. Knowing that, we can come back to emergency reporting and we add an inspection schedule. Now remember, if the inspection schedule is already set, you don't have to do this. So we can add inspection schedule, and again, once every 3 years for Town Hall. And let's say we're going to start today. And the last thing we'll do is we'll set inspection type. Remember, these are periodic inspections, so we click that, and it's set. And we hit save. And now we can see in inspection frequency, we have that set. Starting today, periodic inspections, and they occur every 3 years. And down here, it even has listed when our inspections are supposed to happen. So, with that being said, now we can start an inspection. We start an inspection, the one that's due today, by clicking on the Start an Inspection button. And that brings up another screen. It brings up the first of the 4 screens dealing with the actual inspection form itself. So let's say that we were doing this inspection today. So I would click Today. If we're doing it and we started right now, we could click the Now button. But let's say I started it at 9:30. So I can just type that in right there at time in. Now remember, if I hit now, it's going to change it to whatever the time is now. I'll set it back to 9:30. I'm the inspector. Let's say if it's one of you. Let's say if it's David, for instance, and I pick David instead. Well, let's put it back to me. Remember, inspection type, the type that we're doing right now is a periodic inspection. In other words, our normally scheduled ones. If it were for a complaint or an ABC inspection or whatever else, you'd select the appropriate one. But this is a periodic. And for form, right now we're only using one form, and that's General Inspection Form version 1.0. So right there it is. For now, this is the form we're using. Till you get further instruction otherwise, use that form. And the last thing we fill out on this screen is our contact info. Not for us, but for the person responsible for the building. Now at Town Hall right now we've got Missy Calhoun listed as responsible one. If we click where it says her name right there, then it fills that out in the contact info. There it is. All right, so the first screen is done. We hit next. So this, the second screen in the inspection form, shows the actual things that we're looking at in the inspection, or that we should look at. So what we do now is we save ourselves a little bit of work, because the first thing we do is we check all. We check all and we set everything by hitting bulk operations to pass. We hit OK. And now everything's marked as pass. Again, I'll show you that one more time. First thing we do when we get to this is we hit check all, bulk operations, set selections to pass, and hit OK. And now everything's set to pass. We do that because it'll save us some work in the long run. So now that everything's set to pass, now we're going to go through each and every one of these, and we're going to determine, first of all, if they even apply for the building. Now remember, we're talking about town hall here. Town hall, for instance, doesn't need any operational permits. So we're going to check next to that. Town hall doesn't need any construction permits. So we're going to check next to that. Anything that doesn't apply in here to town hall, we're going to go ahead and check it next. No key boxes at town hall, right? Town hall is not an assembly, so there's no occupancy load ratings and there's no overcounting issue. I can hit occupancy load right here, and it checks both of those automatically for me. There's no fire command center at town hall. There doesn't need to be one. There are no standpipes at town hall. So we'll go ahead and check all those. There's no fire pump either. There's nothing involving commercial kitchen systems we need to worry about. So look, I can check them all with one click. Again, I'm going through, now that I've marked everything pass, now I'm going to go through and mark all the things that don't apply. There's no elevator either. Check all those. Okay. So now that we've got everything selected that does not apply, now we come back to bulk operations. We're going to set all those selections to not observed. We hit OK. So now everything that does not apply to town hall is marked not observed, and the rest are marked pass. So now we're doing our inspection, or we've already done our inspection, and let's say everything passed. Well, then we could hit next. We're good to go. Everything's already set. But what if something didn't pass? What if there was a problem? Let's say, what if there was an exit sign that wasn't working correctly, or there was one that was missing? Let's go with missing. So let's say that's our only problem at town hall. We go to View Remarks, and in View Remarks, we'd set to fail, and then in the actual remark section itself, we would explain why the failure occurred. And I'm just going to type in something here that explains the failure that we are making up. There you go. So now that you've explained all the different ways in which that failure occurred, now you hit the save button. Remember, save looks like a little floppy disk. You got one at the top or the bottom, either one. You save. And now, you look, everything else says pass or not observed. When you get to exit signs, it says fail. And the reason for the failure is in nice bright red letters. Now, if anything else failed in here, we can mark it too. Let's say they have fire department connections and the caps were missing. There you go. Caps were missing from the FDC. I marked it as fail. I hit the save button. And now, again, it takes us back to the form, and we can see 2 failures. All right. So let's say that everything else on the inspection was good. There was just those 2 failures. Now hit next. All right, so the third screen in the inspection form is showing us finishing the inspection. Remember I said earlier I started it at 9:30? Let's say I finished it right now. I could click the Now button and it automatically fills in the time for me. Let's say I didn't finish it right now. Let's say I finished it at 10:30. Then I can type that in. There you go. Now below that, the next thing we see that's important to us right now is inspection result. We said that there were 2 failures. So let's say for this particular instance, we issued a correction notice. We told them they had something they had to fix. We could select anything else in there that fits. Let's say we issued a citation, or that they passed but we had some comments, or whatever the situation might have been. We're going to stick with correction notice issued. We're going to say in here, reinspection is due in 30 days. Okay, so now if we've said it right here, the software also gives us an opportunity to schedule that reinspection. If we come to add inspection schedule and we say schedule single inspection, remember this is one inspection in 30 days to do a reinspection and see if the failures or the issues have been corrected. We hit schedule single inspection, we say reinspection, we say 30 days, and hit save. And now, in addition to our normally scheduled inspections, now we have a new scheduled inspection there for the reinspection. Now, of course, if there was no need to reinspect, we wouldn't have had to do that. Hit next. All right, last screen on the inspection form. This is what gives the information to fill out the rest of the form. And the first part here talks about who the form is going to be sent to. The good news is we already put that information in because we put in who the responsible party was for Town Hall. In this case, it's Missy. So we go to pre-fill contact info, and we go to manager or occupancy contact, either one. And there you go. It puts our email address over there. We can put her name if we need to. I think the other one actually has it. There you go. Manager, Missy Calhoun. There's her address. And here, we're telling who it's from. It's me. And I have an email address. And if I go down, I can pick it. Okay, so now we get to the part that says email inspection results, because the system will allow us to actually email the inspection results to someone. That way we don't even have to print them out. We can just email it to them if we have their email address. But we have to tell the system what it needs to send. So when it says narrow results, we hit select observations. And what I would like for you to click on here every time is fail and pass. That way they'll see everything that failed and everything that passed. We hit OK. And if you want to see what that report looks like, the form that they'll get emailed to them, you can hit preview report. And you get a separate screen, and it shows you the actual form. There you go. Pass, pass, pass. Look, there's my failures. The first one, exit signs. Look, and there is explained clearly to them what the failure was about. There's another failure in here if you remember. There it is, fire department connections. And if you remember, we put in our notes, reinspection is due in 30 days. There it is. So this would be the form that we email to them. Now, if you actually want to email that form, we would click send email right there, and it would send that form to whoever you have listed right there in their email address. And it's not going to send it if you don't hit send email. So if you have an email address and the form's complete, hit send. And you're done. The only thing you have left to do to finalize everything is to put your password for emergency reporting in right there. Mine's already typed in. And now hit next. But you have one screen that pops up that's left over. That's because there are inspections that are scheduled for Town Hall. Remember, there was one that was scheduled today, there's one that's scheduled in 30 days, and there was one that's scheduled in 3 years. We just want to remove one of those, the one that we scheduled today. So we're going to click that. We hit done. And now, look, the inspection frequency is still the same, except now the date has changed because we've already done today's. It shows the inspection you just did, and you can see the form right there if you want. You can say all results. You can look at whatever you want. There's the form, if you need to look at it or print it out or anything. And then there are next scheduled inspections. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's how you enter in an inspection. You set the schedule first, if it's not already set, and then you start the inspection. You fill out all that information, and you can email it or print it out to give to the person. That's it. If you have any questions, please see me or a member of the paid staff. We'll be glad to help you if we can. Do your best on this, and I think this system benefits us a lot. So make the best use of it you can. Thanks.